Right everyone, Shockz16 back once again for the Renegade Master. So yeah, this is going to be another top 10 video. Yeah, I plan to do quite a few of these top 10s in the coming future. I've already done one, which was my top 10 sports games. So if you've not already checked that one out, go out and check it out. I'll put a link up at the end of the video and in the description. So whatever, if you want to go check that one out, check it out because it's already done, innit? So yeah, this one is going to be top 10 PlayStation 1 games. They're in no particular order and these are my personal ones. If they're not yours, then so what? Do you know what I mean? Do your own list. Don't get mardy about it, just do your own list. So yeah, anyway, let's crack on with number 10. So in at number 10, I have picked none other than Syphon Filter. Now Syphon Filter to me is a game that I used to play a lot of when it first came out. I think I got this on launch for Christmas. It was quite kind of a late release game, around about 98, 99. So yeah, kind of a late release for the PlayStation 1 really, wasn't it? To say that the PlayStation 2 was on the horizon in about 2002. So yeah, quite a late release really. But it did spawn a full series. There was 3 games in this series. I've got the first one, I've got the second one, but I've never played the third one yet, so I might have to rectify that, yeah. But the first one goes in my top 10 because I spent so much time on this game. Basically what you do, it's a third person shooter and you play as a character called Gabe Logan who works for an agency which is kind of like a counter-terrorist agency, and yeah, you just have to stop a biochemical bomb or weapon called Syphon Filter. That's where the game gets its name from, and it's just brilliant. You got like a multitude of weapons in it, and my favourite one is you've got a taser on it, and you can go like really sinister with that taser because you can just literally just fire it into someone and just keep firing them, tasing them till they're on the floor having like a bit of a seizure. Kind of funny, kind of sadistic in the same way. But yeah, anyway, in at number 10 is going to be Syphon Filter. So now in at number 9 is none other than Resident Evil 2. Now I would have put the first one on there because I do like the first one, but I didn't play it first. I actually played the second one first and then I went back and played the first one at a later time. Basically a friend of mine borrowed me this game back in the day and I had no clue what it was. I'd heard about it but I didn't really have any clue what it was about, and I put it on, and to be honest with you, when I first put it on, didn't really get on with it all that well. You know, because of the tank controls and stuff like that, like the movement, the tank controls. Yeah, and yeah, I just didn't really get on with it. But then I went back to it, had another go, and I just got totally into it. It was just like, it was totally like a different flip reversal kind of on this game. And yeah, I just loved it. It takes cues from like the Romero films and stuff like that, and yeah, I just think it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It works so well, and I would like to say it has aged well, but some of you might disagree with that. I think it has because they kind of jazzed it up. After the third one, Nemesis, they jazzed it up and made the controls different and like that, which is by all means all well and good, you know what I mean? Generations went on and they had to keep up with the movement basically, didn't they? But I don't know, there's something about them old tank controls and like the old griminess of the PlayStation 1 graphics that just makes it a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more grimy towards that horror survival genre. So yeah, I just love this game and that's why it makes my top 10 list. In at number 9, Resident Evil 2. Now in at number 8 is another game with kind of tank controls on it. Now, I always liked the idea of a Jurassic Park kind of game, but all the Jurassic Park like licensed games I thought was pretty shit. But then this game came out and it was kind of like the Jurassic Park game that I wanted, even though it wasn't Jurassic Park. And you might have already guessed what it is, but that is none other than Dino Crisis. This for me did for the dinosaur game genre what Resident Evil did for the zombie game like genre. So yeah, it's basically Resident Evil with dinosaurs, and yeah, you fight the T-Rex at the end. It's just absolute brilliance. I can't say anything more about it. Lots of jump scares, very airy game, and it's got fucking dinosaurs in it. It's a brilliant game. It is Resident Evil with dinosaurs. Bring them together, makes an awesome combination. So yeah, in at number 8, none other than Dino Crisis. Now in at number 7, we get to the fighting genre, and this is probably one of my all-time favourite fighters ever, and it is none other than Tekken 3. That's right, you could put Tekken 1 and Tekken 2 on this list also, but for me Tekken 3 so far is my favourite one in this series. I played the later ones, and of course I've played the earlier ones, but yeah, the third one just sits nicely with me. There's something about that third one, the characters, the way it moves, the fluidity, is that even a word, fluidity of the moves, and yeah, I just think it looks great, plays great, and yeah, the characters are really nice to fight with and stuff like that as well. The first one was the game that made me buy the PlayStation 1 because I love Tekken, and yeah, it just, like I say, it just made me buy it. That was the system seller to me. The second one is a game that I never really got on with as much. I never thought it was as good as the first, and yeah, I thought the third one blew it out of the water. But now I've gone back to it in later life, I have a newfound love for Tekken 2. So yeah, I have a new kind of found respect for Tekken 2, should I say. But Tekken 3 to me is always going to be the best one in the end, like the best entry into that series, I think. Do you know what I mean? One might come along that I've not played yet that might change my mind, but I can't see it happening. I just love Tekken 3 so much. Like I say, it's not just a good Tekken game, it's a good fighting game altogether. I first came across this game in Spain. I played it on an arcade machine. I was in the hotel where I was staying at. I'd never seen the game before. Before then, I didn't even know it was out. And then I saw it in the hotel, and yeah, I just sunk so many coins into it. And I think I actually did finish it as well. I actually beat it in the arcade. So yeah, when I found out it was actually like released on PlayStation, went home and instantly bought it, and I've loved it ever since. So yeah, in at what number are we on now? Number 7 is going to be Tekken 3. So now in at number 6 is a game that totally blew me away when I was younger, and that game is none other than Grand Theft Auto, the first one. And yeah, I longed, ever since the 16-bit days, I longed for a game where you could literally just go anywhere, get in a car or something, drive anywhere, walk anywhere, shoot anything, anyone, and just generally cause mayhem with no restrictions or like that. And Grand Theft Auto brought that to you. I thought this game was just totally batshit insane when I first came across it, and yeah, I can remember, I think it was a Christmas party or a birthday party, something like that. We went round my mate's house and he had it on, and yeah, we was meant to be like doing things you do at a party, and we basically just sat around his PlayStation playing on Grand Theft Auto. It was amazing. You couldn't get us off it. It was something so totally unique and different for its time. And yeah, I mean, you just didn't have anything else like that. I mean, now later kind of generations, you see a lot of open world games now kind of taking off from the, you know, like the 3D era of Grand Theft Auto. It spawned a lot of copycats. But back then, you didn't really have anything that was copycatting the first Grand Theft Auto. I mean, you might be able to think of something. The closest I can think of is probably Driver 2, where it let you get out of the car and drive anywhere. But yeah, you didn't really have anything like it. It was so unique. The comedy in it, like, you know, like the humour to it was just out there. It was great. It had a great soundtrack, which now, again, in the later releases of Grand Theft Auto in the series, you get licensed tracks now, don't you? So you get some nice soundtracks on the Grand Theft Auto games. But back then, it had a great soundtrack. And I think, don't quote me off this, but I think that all those tracks were original to that game as well, which made it just a little bit more, I don't know, just a little bit more nicer. So yeah, and of course it had that awesome expansion pack as well that you could buy for it later on, which was the Grand Theft Auto London as well, which just gave you even more kind of playability to the game. So yeah, in at number, I forgot what number we're on now, 6. In at number 6 is the original Grand Theft Auto. Now in at number 5 is none other than Marvel vs. Capcom. That's right, I'm taking you back to the fighting genre again. It is one of my favourite genres out there, if not possibly my favourite. If not, it's close first. You all know how much I like my fighters. But yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom. This game I bought on a whim. Just saw it out and about one day and I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy that. Because I like my Marvel characters, I like the Capcom characters from the Street Fighter games and stuff like that. Blend them together in a game, in a fighting game, and I thought, do you know what I mean? That piqued my interest, so I just picked it up on a whim, took it home. My God, I have played through this game with every single character. I have beat it with every single character, and now I've got to do it again because that save is long gone. But yeah, I adored this game. I played it to death, and it, to me, so like again, some might argue that the second one or the third one was the one after the third one. I don't know. They might say that those are better, and you could be right. But for me, the first one is where the nostalgia's at. For me, it just got so much right. It, do you know what I mean? It kept the cartoon, comic book style art with the dynamic backgrounds, like the speech on it, like the catchphrases that the characters say. They basically say stuff you want them to say, the move how you want them to move, the fight how you want them to fight, and yeah, it's just got awesome characters that just thrown into the mix, battle it out, got some stupidly great combination moves you can do on it and stuff like that. So yeah, for me, in at number 5 is none other than Marvel vs. Capcom. Now in at number 4 is my favourite, all-time favourite horror game, and that is none other than Silent Hill. The first Silent Hill, for me, was the first game that kind of proper, what do you say, kind of found a little bit disturbing to play. Like, proper scary game. Because like Resident Evil, like I say, I played them before this game, and they did make you jump scares, but with Silent Hill it was more, I don't know the word, it wasn't like, the scariness to it wasn't like jump scares or like that. It was the whole atmosphere of the game, and yeah, just the whole town of Silent Hill. There was just something so eerie and creepy about it. All like from the very start, as soon as you get in, and you know the first time you hear that fog horn and stuff like go off, the fog comes in and that horn goes off, and you have to walk down that alleyway, and it's got like that wheelchair and the squeaky wheel going around in the alleyway. Oh man, that to me, do you know what I mean? That was like kind of scary stuff. And I played through that game as well in the dark. I always used to play it at night with all the lights off to get the full effect. I loved that game from start to finish. I've played it, through it at least 3 times, because you can get different endings depending on what you do in the game. And I think I got the same ending twice, but then I got another ending, something like that. But yeah, great game. I might have to play through it again soon as well, because I do love that game. Like I say, it's the first game that genuinely kind of, not disturbed me, but kind of gave you that, I don't know how to explain it, but it was kind of, it was a scary game. The first kind of horror game that made me feel like, yeah, okay, this is eerie, some shit's going to go down in this game. And yeah, it's not going to be right. But yeah. And I just love the way they utilised that fog effect as well, because of the draw distance on the game was quite short. So yeah, they just made Silent Hill surrounded by fog, and rather than spoiling the game, it just added to the atmosphere and made it like more gloomy and dull and just perfect for the setting of Silent Hill. So yeah, in at number 4. Are we on number 4? I forgot again. Yes, we're on number 4. It's Silent Hill. Now in at number 3, it's a driving game. That's right, another one of my favourite kind of genres. I say it's pretty close to the fighter genre for me, is driving. And yeah, I do like my simulators, but I also just like to go all balls out crazy with a nice arcadey racer. And yeah, I love rally games as well. So yeah, I'll just tell you what it is. It's Colin McRae Rally, the first Colin McRae Rally on the PlayStation 1, of course. Yeah, basically, I sold my Sega Saturn back in the day to fund a PlayStation 1 purchase, but Sega Rally is one of my favourite games on the Saturn, so I was kind of lacking that rally experience, that rally game to fill the void, and I think I played V-Rally, but it didn't really do it for me, and I think I played another one as well, I can't remember what it was called, but I played a couple of rally games and they didn't really do anything for me, and then I picked up Colin McRae, and this was the game that I was looking for, the game that kind of filled in for Sega Rally. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think Sega Rally is the definitive rally game, but Colin McRae is... It was a nice substitute, put it that way. I just loved the way the cars handled. I loved the way it got like all the dirt up the side when you like went skidded through the water and through the mud and stuff like that. I thought that was brilliant. I loved your little co-driver shouting out hairpin turns to you and stuff like that. I also loved the fact that you could change your tyres and your suspension setups and stuff like that. It was like a proper rally game. It's actually more in depth than Sega Rally, to be honest with you, on the whole. So, yeah, in at number 3. Yeah, I got it right. In at number 3 is Colin McRae Rally. Now, coming in at number 2, just missing out on the first spot. Like I say, these games aren't really in any particular order, but they're in a kind of favourite list as of now. Do you know what I mean? My mind changes all the time on what's my favourite and what's my not. But these are like in order for, like, say, us just recording this video. But yeah, so just missing out on the top spot is a light gun game. And for me, it's the best light gun game ever made. I love this game. And that is none other than Point Blank. Now, yeah, I'm quite fond of light gun games. Do you know what I mean? I love picking up a gun and shooting some shit, do you know what I mean? That's just me, I'm a geezer, do you know what I mean? We like shit like that, we like shooting stuff, we like blowing shit up, do you know what I mean? Great stuff. Light gun games are brilliant. Time Crisis was a great game, but the game I always used to play, always levitated to, that means rising, don't it? Drawn to, I don't know, I don't know where I was going with that. Levitated to, I don't know, I didn't fly to the machine, but, but yeah. The game that I always gravitated, was that the word I was thinking of? Gravitated towards in the arcade when it came to light gun games is Point Blank. I love that game. If I see it in an arcade, I will play it. And that's a good thing about Point Blank as well. You still do see it in arcades as well. It's one of those games that's still around in arcades now, here and there. So that's brilliant that you can still actually play it in the arcade. Yeah. The only thing that's lacking about the PlayStation 1 version is, of course, you don't get the force feedback in the gun, like you don't get the recoil that you do on your arcade machine, and that kind of yeah, I would have loved to have had that on the home console. But yeah, like I say, it's one of my favourite, it is my favourite actually, it's my favourite light gun ever in the arcades, and when I found out that it was coming to a home console, I thought, shit, I gotta get this when it comes on console. So I went out, I bought the gun, I bought the game, and yeah, the rest is history, and that's why it makes my number 2 slot. Now, in at number 1 is a classic all-time game. I expect a lot of people to pick this as probably number 1 on if they did a top 10 list, and that is none other than Metal Gear Solid. Oh my god, this game is outstanding. And you know what? I actually didn't like this game the first time I played it. Now, I used to have a couple of hundred PlayStation games back in the day, but I didn't have many original ones. There was all backups. But yeah, and this is a game that my mum got me on back in the day, amongst a pile of other ones. And I had no clue what Metal Gear Solid was, never heard of it before. Not even heard of like the old ones, you know, that came out on, was it the NES and stuff like that. Never heard of the series before. So I had no clue what I was in for when I put it in. Like I say, first time I played this game, I just couldn't get on with it because it's a stealth game and you have to creep around on it and stuff. I couldn't get on with it at all. I just kept on getting caught by guards, and I was thinking, oh, I just want to shoot shit, I just want to do stuff. So I just took it out and chucked it to the side, and I never really played with it for months and months. And then I was just bored one day, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to that game, give it another chance. And then I played it as it was supposed to be played. Do you know what I mean? Cleared my head of all this going around just shooting everybody kind of thing. Played it how it was meant to be played, and I got so into it, and the storyline just gripped me, the characters, yeah, I just love the way you could, like the way you start outside and you have to find a way in, and you go through the air vent and you can just creep around and stuff. I just thought it was brilliant. Proper stealth espionage game. And like I say, that storyline, it's probably the first game that really dragged me in with a storyline. I thought, this is where you thought, like, the future's here, do you know what I mean? This is like a big change in games with this storyline. And yeah, it's got some epic boss battles on it as well, do you know, like the sniper, the mission, of course, the famous Psycho Mantis one where you, do you know what I mean, the trick is to change over your joypad to slot 2 and stuff like that. Brilliant, brilliant, ahead of its time. But one thing I can remember about this game as well is that because it was on a backup, my disc 2 didn't used to work on it, so I got halfway through the game and then I couldn't play the second half, so I had to go out and buy an original copy of it to complete it, so I could play through the second disc. And they say that pirating never leads to anything good. Well, it did to me, because it made me go out and purchase a game that, do you know what I mean, beforehand I probably would have never have heard of and probably would have just passed up. So yeah, but Metal Gear Solid for me is a great series. And yeah, the first one for me was just outstanding, and I still think it's outstanding to this day, and that's why it makes my number one list. My number one on my list of top 10 PlayStation 1 games. So there you go, guys, that was my top 10 list of PlayStation 1 games. Why not do your own? If you don't want to do a video response, like I say, if you don't agree with my list, like I say, don't be moody, just do your own list. If you don't want to do a video response, just drop it in the comments or something like that, do you know what I mean? It's all good, baby, it's all good. We don't have to fight, you know what I mean? We're all lovers, we don't have to hate. But yeah, sorry if this went on a bit long. These top 10s do kind of go on a little bit, so well done if you've made it all the way to the end without skipping past any. And yeah, that's basically it. I'll see you for the next top 10 that I do, if I ever do one. I probably will. But yeah, so look out for that one. Like I said, if you've not already checked out my top 10 sports games, go back and check that one out too. And I'll see you in a bit. Ta-ta, bye!